Hey everyone's Classic DM. We have another episode of Detail here, and what we wanted to do today was talk about entry points in more detail, taking a look at the map. And you may remember last time we talked very briefly about some of the main ways that a party of adventurers can get into this place is obviously the front door, which is this area here, right? And we can just pull this out of the way for a second. And the other way was to possibly climb in through the top of the guard tower by getting up on this roof here and then climb on the roof and coming in this way. And a lot of people use this as the main point of entry. And in another episode, we'll talk about what it would be like if you come through here or come the back way towards the kitchen. The other way that's pretty obvious is this exterior courtyard that's full of these 14 dire wolves, where there's a gate here and there is also a gate to the north. So you have an east gate here and you have a north gate here. So this area here is an outbuilding, means it has its own roof structure. And this main part of the whole Steading the Hill Junction is going to have one massive roof structure here with the center part to vent out all the smoke and stuff from the big fire pit. So when you get down into here, you have this courtyard that's full of dire wolves. Now, these are basically like massive wolves. They aren't wargs. Wargs is another classification for dire wolf if you read the monster manual. But with these wolves, I've given them vision that's quite far. So the reason why that's why it looks like it's illuminated by torches. It's not actually torches. These are the dim and bright areas that these guys can see. So as you can see, there's here's this gate here. We've got this corner turn. There's no dire wolves down here, but it's dim light for them, so they can actually still see that. Let me break you down that detail. This is something as a DM you may want to control. This is a wild animal, right? So a wild animal is going to have vision, yes, and I have dim light vision of 100 feet with a very bright vision of 25 feet. With all its heightened senses living in the forest and the woods, even being captured and used in a hill giant base, you can almost see the extent of its vision here. This is the extent of 100 feet from him all the way out. Let's just do a little measuring tool. So this is about the 100-foot mark for him, right? So if you were within 100 foot, he can see you. If you're within this distance here, he can see you quite clearly. Now, my AD&D game, I don't use any kind of penalty for shooting into dim vision, and there's a lot of different rules in D&D 5e and Pathfinder. This is just so who can see who and who's illuminated. Now, why is that important? Well, it's really important because these wolves can see in the dark better than people can, right? So that makes a lot of sense. Let's just put this guy back here in the corner, and let's first talk about this eastern gate. So I just, for the purposes of the conversation, I put the cleric, and I've also put the fighter. Let's just give those two guys, let's bring those guys together. They're right in front of this gate. Now, what is this gate? Since this is an open courtyard, right? There's no roof on this area. So this entire area that you see here, let's just use the measuring tool again. This entire area, where is our measuring tool? Let's do it like this. Here we go. This entire area from here to here, and then from here to here, it's just quite big. And even over to here, this whole shape that you see here is open to the sky. I mean, it's raining right now and it's dark and there's no light. There's no torches out here burning or anything. So don't be confused. Don't think that this is a torch. This is not a torch. This is the actual light vision range of the direwolf. So he can't actually see into here. So we go back over to here. So all you really need to control this entrance is like a gate, like you might see at a wooden fort in Braveheart or the wood chopper mill in Warhammer Online. So that means you've got a bunch of vertical logs, maybe spiked on the top, bound together with iron bound and a Z-shaped brace supporting it, and barred from the inside, maybe rope tied around it or something like that. It doesn't mean the end of the world, and it probably can be climbed quite easily. The idea is to prevent anyone from opening the gate in a traditional way. And these are pretty big. I mean, this is 5-foot character square. So you got 10 foot and another 10-foot, uh, double doors right here. This is big set of doors. So let's just assume for a second that one of the ways the party decides to do after scouting out is they decide to climb over this or some way to unlock it. Let's say that they determine that they can, put some swords through the slats in between the logs and maybe lift up the bar or cut the rope holding it. If it's got a chain and a padlock, that's kind of be a hassle. They're not gonna be able to pick the lock. So maybe the thief can climb walls, climb over, come to the inside, pick the lock, open the gate. So let's just say they figure out how to open the gate. Now, once that gate is open, people are going to be able to see in. So our party, if you don't have any illumination, they're going to be able to see a little distance once they come into this space. So they'll be able to come into here. Now, right off the bat, this is where it's critical for you as a DM to understand who can see who. And this is a really long line of sight. This is like a shooting range. This is a pretty big distance. The placement of your direwolves as a DM is really important. What I decided to do was keep them around the perimeter, keep them over here in the bushes and things like that. There's like some shrubbery, muck, a path. If it's raining, there's probably an eave that's overhanging from the edge of the building, might even hang over 5 to 10 feet. So the water, it's hanging over this guy here. You're probably not getting much direct rain. Probably not that fun to sit into the direct rain. The other thing he may want to do is like, create burrows that they can lay in. They might even have a little burrow under the ground that they're living in. But it's all muddy right now, they probably wouldn't want to do that. So those are the kind of details you kind of need to think about. If you had a big yard like this, and you have 14 big dire wolves running around, being pretty much left to their own devices, except every now and then taking to do something. All the mud, the bushes, they might have dens. If it was daylight, these guys might be pacing. They might be pacing around. They might not just be standing still, but I've got them set so they're like, it's raining, it sucks, so we're just going to hunker down. So that makes a really interesting situation for vision. But what about smell? And that's something that D&D doesn't really give you a lot of rules on. So the way I would do it with my players, I would allow them to come in, climb in, figure out how to open the gate. Maybe they close the gates back behind them, or they leave it open, maybe one crack so they can escape. And as they start coming here, they're not really aware of where any of these guys are, right? They're not going to see them or anything like that. So you can see right here, the problem with the illumination system, right? With these guys here, if I set them to this has a light radius on them. Why do they have a light radius on them? They should not have a light radius on them. They should have a vision radius, not a light radius on them at all. Let's see if we can fix that. That may be a mistake I made when I set them up. There we go. So if I've got these guys with a light source on them, they would be able to be seen by your players, and they should not be able to be seen by the players. Let's make sure I haven't messed that up. Let's get rid of this guy and this guy and this guy. Can he see him? That might be a mistake. I may have set these guys up to have light sources. I'm going to remove them all and fix that real quick. It only takes a second. Let's just get rid of these guys. And we'll leave one guy here. And let's fix our original. There we go. Okay, great. Here's our original direwolf here, so we can copy and paste him a few times. There we go. So now we have this done properly. I apologize for the mistake. I must have made a mistake in giving them a light source. They don't need to have a light source on them. So as these guys are moving along through here, this bright circle is like where you can see in pitch black darkness pretty well. And this is the dimness. You can't see the dire wolves are over here, but they could see you as you enter their light vision here. So this back entrance, odds are your players are going to encounter combat with the dire wolves. Once one dire wolf is alerted, they're all going to get alerted. Oh, you're going to have all 14 running down here, charging you and doing this kind of stuff. Now, why is this important? So it's nighttime out here. It's illuminated inside. This actually applies to the North Gate as well. This fella right here, right? He is, I'll give you let's get the description up from him. He's the keeper of these dire wolves. So let's just open up the module. I'll pull that page real quick, and we'll zoom this back out. And we'll pan this over again. And this area is, which area? Let's go to the map in the back. This area is 22 and 19. All right, so let's go to 19 and let you see this real quick. If you've never set this up, never run it before, most people know this area by the back of their hand. 19 tells you what's going on with this open compound and this servant quarters, which is this area right here. We're going to zoom in a little better for you guys looking at this on YouTube so you can see it. Okay, great. This is a large common room, has various sized cots, tables, chairs, junk. There are 6 giantess maids, which are females, and a handsome giant warrior who will immediately do battle in order to show off to his admirers. He will not raise a cry for help, and has to be brought down to 50% health or less before he'll call for help. This guy's the keeper of the direwolves. The giant is the direwolf keeper. See page 22. So this is where you have your open compound is this area right here that we're standing right now. Let's just pull this down so we can open this back up again. So this fella here, if we have a bunch of racket happening in this courtyard with all these dire wolves, let's just copy and paste a few of these guys here, put them here. Even if you just have this many dire wolves engaging with the players, it's going to make a bunch of racket. But then, like I said previously, well, how much racket would he really be able to hear? I mean, this is a pretty big distance. He's in here. There's probably some torches burning on the wall. It's raining. There's water splattering on the ground here. If all the direwolves start to attack, they might howl and make a bunch of noise. So this character here might be interested in, hey, what are they howling about? Let me go grab my whip off the wall and come into the courtyard and look into the darkness and start yelling at them. But they could be preoccupied with engaging in a fight with the players over here who may or may not be casting spells and making a bunch of melee sounds. So this is a really interesting point. You know, you would think normally that, yeah, you can just see everything. Let's just transition this to daylight, so I have to keep clicking back and forth. And you got the picture that it's dark. So, you know, he can't see what they're doing. He can hear them. It's in the darkness. He might grab a torch and pull a torch with him. He might be able to look into the darkness and start yelling and screaming at the direwolves. They don't see the whip, so maybe they're not afraid of the whip yet. How does that break down? Well, the way they kind of describe it is in the module, you have to leave that up to you. So if there's a big fight happening here, as a DM, do you want this Joker to come bebopping down into here? Let's give him a light source. We're going to give him, let's say a 40-foot. Let's say it's a 40-foot torch, and then it's dim to 60. And we'll just make it a torch so it pulses, right? And we'll update the token, and we'll switch back to nighttime. And he's going to have this big, maybe it's a bullseye lantern or whatever it is. So you can see if he's walking through the darkness, and if the players are fighting in darkness, they wouldn't be able to see very well. If he's over here, you can see quite quickly, he might start moving through the environment and looking for what's going on. And he turns this corner, he might see, depending upon where your player character is engaged in combat, he might see this fight going on. He might see all this happening, if this is happening right here. So then he can see them fighting. If they're casting spells, he can see this. You'll see him because he's illuminated, so the players would see him the moment he starts turning the corner here. Let's just give you an example of how that would work. Let's say you're fighting, you would see this guy coming, but he can't see you yet because he's illuminated. So this could be a really interesting situation where your players are broken in, and this guy, fortunately, they've given us enough description in the module to say he's not going to just immediately go run for help, right? That what he's going to do is engage with the players with this wolves here, and he's going to have a lot of bravado. And only when he gets to 50% health is he going to try to probably go raise the alarm. So you can see this right here. He will not cry for help. He will not raise or cry for help unless brought to 50% or less of his hit points. On the round this happens, he will raise help by shouting, with a 60% chance each round of being heard. That means he isn't going to just drop his stuff and run off. This is really, really good for the players because let's say that he sees this and he's like, well, I'm going to get involved. He comes getting involved as well, though you players are slowly, systematically wiping out these dire wolves, and maybe there's an opening, and he decides to get in here and start fighting, and you've got the fighter and the cleric fighting like this and fighting this guy, and some of the dire wolves have been killed. Maybe some of the dire wolves are trying to flank or something, and it's down to this kind of situation. Once he gets to 50% health, he's going to start yelling, and the players don't really know if is there anyone in this building here? They see there's a double door. They might have not seen there's a double door here. They may not even know there's a door here. The other players may have never investigated this north gate. So this is a very interesting tactical situation. The good thing for the players is they could probably bring this guy down and kill him because what he's going to do to raise the alarm is just yell. He's never going to run and flee and run to the door and get away. So this is something that's really important for you to keep in mind if the players start to use that area as the entrance. And let's just turn this light off because we're going to put him back in his default position. So we run it with some friends soon. We won't have to worry about that. Nope, forgot I need to update the token. Double click it, go to prototype token, go to light. All the changes I may have forgotten because I didn't save it. Turn the animation off, none, and hit update token. Now he's back to being dark again. Now he just has his regular light vision. Let's put him back in the room with his girlfriends. So that's one option that can happen. This option is probably the safest because the players could possibly encounter and fight all the dire wolves in this area here without having to, all around here, without having to worry about being caught. And I'm going to turn this back on to daylight again so you can see a little bit better. So if that's what's happening, there is a possibility that the players will be able to win the battle and kill the dire wolves without this guy yelling. Just be cognizant of the fact that if there's dire wolves up in this area, and if they start making a bunch of noise and howling and stuff, he's going to hear that, and he's probably going to come out here and tell them to shut up. So his big motivation is primarily going to be to, what the hell are my wolves doing? Let me go get them to be quiet and tell them to shut up. So for you as the DM, you're going to need to pay close attention to this without telling the players what's happening. All right, that's one option. So now let's go see what would happen. Let's move our characters up to here, to the other gate, and talk about the same type of situation if it's happening at this gate. And we're just going to put the players inside the gate. We'll open this door, and we will make sure we put our 14 dire wolves back to play here. So we're just going to copy and paste these guys. I'll put 3 of them here, and I always like to keep them in the corners together. And I'll put these 2 dice here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's put a few of them here as well. And then, you get to think about, like, if I was a direwolf, I want to be under the eave and not get rained on, right? Maybe over here, maybe 1 by this wood pile, maybe 2 by the store. These bushes are great. Maybe they have a burrow in here. They're trying to hang underneath the burrow. How many have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I believe there's 14 totally in the module. We'll just check that out real quick, be sure we aren't overdoing it. I'm pretty sure that's over here. Open compound, 14 dire wolves. Okay, great. So that's set. Now, the other alternative, as I was saying a moment ago, we have, let's put our whole party in here. They're all working together. They're not using invisibility. They're just regularly walking the door, picking locks. They come into here. These dire wolves are going to see them quite easily, right? Very, very, very much so easily. And they may or may not be able to see them. Let's transition this back to darkness. So the same kind of thing happens where the players get engaged in a fight. They start fighting all these dire wolves, what they can and can't see. What's going on with the lighting on this guy? I'm not going to fix it right now. Will this guy in this area here hear them and come out here and engage with the players? And does this end up becoming a way in here, right? Once he opens this door, whoops, sorry about that. Once he opens this door and comes out, players now are more aware this is a door they can do something with. Do they get engaged with him and fighting him and come into this way? And it says in the module that these giantesses in here will not engage. If anything, this is where it gets interesting. They might run down the hallway. So if this door is open and they run down this hallway, one thing you have to consider is this room here that has ogres in it, who are warriors that are hired to defend things. They're in this room gambling. Let's show you that entry real quick. They might come to the rescue and help. These giantesses might immediately head to the ogre room. So all these might come running down the hallway to say, help, we're under attack or whatever. And then these ogres might be the first set of organized resistance the players face if they start coming in through this way here. So the players, we just use the thief for now. If the players come into here and these women start running away or cowering in fear, they try to parlay with them. If they start running down the hallway, odds are someone's already run down and informed them, and then they've got ogres. This could be a fight in this room with the ogres could be fighting with the players in this room here. So a little confusing. So let's just review that real quickly. So you can have a situation where they come out here, start fighting the dire wolves, makes a bunch of noise to pull the hill giant out. After they defeat him or kill him or whatever, even if he starts to yell, that would have the females that are in here would probably run down the hallway and seek help from the ogres that are in this room. Let's talk about those ogres and what their state of mind is. Okay, so we're going to do this like this. Open this up here, and I've got some notes about that over here. All right. The ogres are area 21, so let's pan this up so we can see that area. And I'll make this even bigger for you. All right. This is this area here that we're looking at. So this room is this room in here, right? So if these ogres, some of them are chilling out and they're gambling and doing whatever they're going to do into ogre hanging out off work hours type thing around a table or something. Jon's map here, Jon Pintar's map doesn't have a table, unfortunately. He didn't really read the module very well, but that's okay. Still a beautiful map. The ogres are trusty flunkies, as well as hard workers and fighters. In addition to those in the Great Hall and the young at work in the kitchen, there are 5 of them here. playing knucklebones, drinking beer, small beer, whatever it is. Amidst the heaps of skins in which they sleep are 22 of them. Um, it's hidden leather sack, has blah blah blah, locked in great iron chest. But this is all the loot. So the thing in here that's really going on, noise from this place will attract no attention whatsoever. If if you were to attack the ogres in this hallway, and by it saying noise from this place will attract no attention whatsoever. Now, why would Gygax or Arneson, whoever wrote the module, say that? So if your players end up working their way, fighting him, working away in here, these women flee for help. If the ogres come out, those women might be, you know, meandering in this hallway. And if the fight with the ogres happens in the hallway with the players, you've got this opportunity for, if the fight starts to not go their way, these women might they might jump into the kitchen, run in the kitchen, yell for help, or they may be bold and run all the way down the hallway and go alert everyone at the big party, and that is a complete nightmare for the players. Why? Because this is the toughest room in the whole module. This is where the chief and his cave bear and the sub chief and his wife and the cloud giants and stone giants are here, unless they've already been picked up in the wandering monster table. All the orcs and ogres, and it's a nightmare. It's a lot. The good thing would be that if all these guys start pouring out to see what's going on, it might just be like a group of 4 or 5 run down the hallway to see what they're yelling about and don't really believe it's a big deal. And then once they actually detect that the players are making some kind of a stand, the players may find themselves in this module having to defend in this hallway and retreating back into this room, spiking the door closed or using magical means to block the door. They may end up being able to retreat out to here to the courtyard and back out the gate. So they have a way out if they're getting overrun and if it's too nasty. And that's where you have a situation where if the players have to pull out and completely retreat, by the time they come back, the giants will set up some kind of defenses. And this is something that's discussed in the early part of the module. So in summary, to keep this video a little shorter, you have some very interesting dynamics that can happen from attacking the east gate, which gives you an opportunity to perhaps get into here, get into this back section of the module, which has no noise and no occupants whatsoever. Very safe way to get in. In fact, if you got lucky, if the players don't cheat, they could even work their way down into here, the secret room, and go down to the dungeon level without being detected. They can work their way into here and pick all this stuff off here. They might even pick this off here. They may even work their way down into here to do the secret door. One thing I think is very important, though, is this door is going to be left open. When there's a big party going on, people are coming and going all the time. This door here, that's right here, we'd leave this one closed, I think. So, but this is really the whole thing of the tactical element of this adventure, I think is really important. Let me make sure I got the door closed again. There, just close that back. Okay, cool. Is that where the players enter the compound has such an impact on how a chain of events unfurl. You might have a situation in your first game session, something as simple as the players come in the courtyard and wiping out the dire wolves, then killing this giant, coming into here. Role players might be able to some kind of way to, stop these the females from fleeing. They might have some that the thief might sneak past this area and lock the door or something. Or the magic user may come in here and do something, put them all to sleep. If they would, I actually don't think they'd be able to be put to sleep. The spell's not strong enough. There may be a way to even kill them all before there's any noise made. The players might be able to use stealth to get into here and be able to peek in this room and wipe these guys out. That's why when that description says fighting in this area won't draw attention, in my mind, the only thing that's really going to draw attention from an approach from coming in this north gate and through this way is if someone flees like these and runs and asks for help. That's going to be the biggest trick. If you ever played EverQuest 1, we call them a runner, someone snare the runner, right? You're going to have situations in the map if you do this north approach here where you might get runners. If you come in this way here, there's highly unlikely, if the fight doesn't extend all the way out to the courtyard here, that you're going to really have any runners. So this is the idea behind this whole video series. Let's think about what's going to happen. Let's think about the AI, the reactions, what seems fair. You really want that party to use stealth to go check these things out before they do anything, right? And if they don't, and they kick down the front door, then they're going to end up having lots of toe-to-toe combat fights, and they might find themselves in this 20-foot wide corridor fighting off 20 giants. All right, I'm going to stop the video there, but that's what we wanted to go over today is what happens if we use this north gate and this east gate, how those two situations can play out and how they can actually benefit you. Um, the thing I think this makes really fun is this wolf keeper kind of guy, that this giant warrior who's trying to impress the ladies. He has a whip that he can brandish that makes all the dire wolves cower. But if those dire wolves are attacking the party and they're in a frenzy, him holding the whip out isn't going to make them stop, right? And if players are in this courtyard and they're fighting, they have a lot of room to navigate. I mean, you might be able to have the magic user back here and pull guys out and then fireball them, and all kinds of really neat options possible. But no matter what kind of grand melee or fight that happens in this courtyard, there's enough of a buffer. Let's just use the measuring tool. There's enough of a buffer from these wall thicknesses and all the noise being made in this room here to not wake anyone up. No one's going to hear anything at all, which makes this area a great place for a really fun introductory battle for a party that can start working together, fighting all these dire wolves, and then have a one hill giant fight. Okay, we're going to stop the video there. If you got any comments, feel free to share it down below. This is such a great classic adventure. The way that it can things can turn on a dime really quickly, and when you're really playing it and have never played it before, and if you don't remember the layout anymore, the stealth element is so important. But if it's not, you got to think like a soldier. How can you back out? How can you use the room layout to protect you? So, all right, we'll stop it there, and we'll see you the next time. We'll cover another area. We'll probably next time go over a little bit more detail about coming in this way down here, past the sub chief. We'll talk about these younglings, and we'll talk about this room here, and we'll talk a little bit about what you can do with story elements here and here that's not really taken advantage of in the module description. All right, thanks for tuning in and listening to this video. And if you like the stuff like this, let me know, and I'll try to do more of it. I think it's a really fun way to examine tactics and the gameplay and the details of the Steading of the Hill Giant Chief. Talk to you soon. See you later. Bye bye.